मिठो गीत like this is like हुन्छ नि मेरोलाई like यस्तो मेरो मुडको खालको गीत छ कि
एकदमै upbeat.
out there definitely this is
Oh,
and we have none other than Diwas Gurung for our podcast today. So welcome Dai, welcome to our like quarantine session show.
uh, thank you for having me.
Okay. So let's start by first like introducing yourself. I want to introduce you as like being हामी नेपालीहरू like we come to United States for our education and so on and you are one of the rare like people who chose something artsy in a very different artistic manner. It's you are the one who chose music as your career.
Right.
Like how like can you just tell like how did it come about to be like you to be a musician and choose for someone to be like come to United States and go about, go around like performing and being actual in a band.
I think it's a matter of luck and just intention, I guess. When I first came to the US, I still I started playing music kind of late, like when I was 18. So it's a little bit later than most people. So when I came to and something about music, when you start learning it, there's like the first 4 or 5 years when you're like really obsessed with it. For me, it was the guitar. I mean, when I was in the US, I was still in that phase of like complete obsession with music.
So when did you come to United States?
2002.
2002. That's a long time ago, eh?
Yeah.
It's almost like 18 years, and you're still strumming your guitar.
Yeah.
तपाईँले like we can talk in English, Nepali, it doesn't matter. We're free to do that, होइन तपाईँको like exactly musical like before okay I'm not even going even before United States like how did you feel like when did you actually start to feel like a musician because this speaks a lot to me personally as well I'm not only like indirectly like I have been studying music and this feels a lot of relatable thing. It's like when did I become a musician and when should I put it on the side or put it on my main project and like I want to be that. तपाईँको लागि चाहिँ like how did it feel?
I guess in some ways like it's a back and forth thing, because growing up we had like all these paradigms of what a musician should be. It's like you have to get a record label, you have to be touring around the country. At least the musician I looked up to, they had all of those things. And for me, like I don't really have label. So even sometimes today, like I don't feel like I'm a musician some days, and some days I do. But I guess I mean strictly in the sense of business wise, I guess once you're like making some kind of income after with the music, you could be a musician. But I mean more philosophically, I think you're a musician when you can express yourself with an instrument or some kind of musical device, So I think that is the main crux of being a musician. Then like you have an idea, you have a feeling, and if you can express it somehow, then I think that is the standard, the minimum I should like.
And that's the thing. It's like a lot of people are like a lot of Nepalese, a lot of people just buy a guitar, play a few songs, and enjoy. And that's a very basic start of how you end up loving music. It's just like you want to be a performer, you want to be like playing in front of the people. That's the secondary. The primary is you're going to enjoy that music, you're going to learn something, and you're going to express it.
Yeah.
So I have like, I'm just amazed like तपाईँको like I've seen a lot of your growth पनि like when the last time you came to perform concert in St. Cloud State and like we organized it and we were like really happy to have you and from then Diwas Gurung is also a band member of Ayurveda and now तपाईँको आफ्नो you have like a solo project होइन. So can you explain to like not explain but like can you just talk about like how did like when did you start that band?
So yeah, that ties into my to your first question of how did
Yeah.
I become a full-time musician in the US after, because I came to the US like everyone to study, and I did my bachelor's in economics. But I met most of my bandmates in college, Ithaca College. I went to Ithaca College upstate New York. So that's where I met all of them, and that was very lucky for me to meet them, because if I hadn't met them, I wouldn't be doing this in this way, at least. Because having like a band there, like having all of us having like a common goal of wanting to play music, trying to put on really good shows, and we all listen to the same kind of music. We're all into like grunge and bands after that. Which
Yeah.
when I got to college, a lot of people weren't listening to that kind of music anymore, because it was already 2002, and people were into like uh, different kinds. The grunge was like still old, right? So
Yeah.
it was lucky for me to meet those guys, and I think it built from there. Like, we did recordings, and then start writing songs, start playing shows, and
Yeah.
our local scene was like really supportive. So we had a good fan following if you can.
Okay.
And so we made an album in like a really nice studio, and we got a new drummer, new bass player. So it just built from there to a point where like I was feeling really good about just doing music, and I had to have that conversation with my parents.
Oh, I remember that
Which,
conversation.
I'm sure all I wouldn't say like all people, but like a lot of Nepali students um, would
Yeah.
relate to the experience.
Okay. Let me tell you about my experience. Like
Yeah.
I came to United States and like I wanted to go for computers like everybody does. Like I want to be a computer. I think I studied BCIS, information system. So like the first semester, like first semester of it, party, like I'm like this is not for me. Like I got that urge feeling and then I went to like I asked my sister and I went consulting about like few music places, and then that guy like I went into music department, and then when I just hear students playing music, I'm like, oh dear, I want to be that. I want to grow up to be that. And then I kind of switched. Like I talked with my consultant, and then I switched from IT computer, which has a secure future. Like
Yeah.
a lot of the people make a lot of money like after they graduate, and that's pretty good. And then I chose music direction, which is like on security, extremely hard subject matter,
Yeah.
and then I have to talk to my parents and I want to go into pursue music, and then they were like initially they didn't want to, but they were really supportive. But I can definitely feel like how you can say is like it's not gonna be the same with the family support all over. तपाईँको like I mean you have a background in your family has a background in music too, right?
Yeah, and they were pretty supportive. But it was also like a thing where it's not like supportive once and it's done. Because life keeps going on, and the music field is very very unstable. So
Yeah.
every few months, every year, like I always get like a follow up questions. Like how's it going and stuff. As long as like there's some progress happening. But I mean, at that time, my parents were very supportive, and
Oh
that
yeah,
was like a big
that's
deal
super
for me.
nice of them.
Yeah, which a lot of parents would I don't think would
Like
have been so easy. That kind of stuff.
what did they like? How did their reaction goes? Like a couple of months after you decided to, I want to pursue band, and of course they have to be like, okay, so you're
Yeah,
doing
I mean, I think it's in some ways they probably weren't super surprised just because of how I was with music, even when I was in Nepal. And
Mhm.
like SLC Kobela, like I would just that's when I started playing guitar, and I was like obsessed nonstop, like playing underneath the bed covers, la rati at night time, like eating, lunch kind of, and I had a guitar in my hand. So
Oh, they,
they knew like it's more than a hobby, it's more than a phase. And when I came to the US, like I brought my guitar, my electric guitar from Nepal to the US, and that was like a big,
oh, you
yeah.
got
So
it, you got it. Like
yeah, yeah,
did it like it's big, right? Like I remember one of my friend got it. Like he bought his guitar here, like, and it's like it's a hand carry on. So you're missing out on other stuff you can actually bring. So you actually bring a guitar, and let me tell you, I brought my cowbell from Nepal. I brought this cowbell. I brought those cymbals, you know, like I don't know if you can see it, but like I got two cymbals, everything from Nepal. I'm like, I just purchased it, and when I came to the United States, I'm like, I don't want to leave it. I don't want to leave it. That's the funny thing.
Yeah, yeah.
How much like was it hard to bring it on the luggage as a in the plane?
No, it was okay. It was just hard, like when I was doing a transfer or something, so like I had to bring the guitar and then they had to check it every time because this was like right after, very fresh after 9/11 too, so people were very
Oh yeah,
big
that's a bad
package.
timing.
But I remember I had my guitar and I had like Korg multi effects pedal in my
Oh.
backpack. So in the transfer, I would just be playing guitar with like headphones on. And
You couldn't even reach to America to just
yeah, yeah, I couldn't. I
refresh
was
it out. You're
yeah,
like,
obsessed.
oh, like, you could have even put up like a hat in the front and just like try to make
Yeah,
some
yeah.
money out of in the transit. That would be fun.
Yeah, yeah. I
Uh,
mean, I wouldn't do that now, but when you're young, like
yeah.
your thinking is very like just one-dimensional, and I think that's
Oh,
why a lot of people, they become successful when they're young because like that's all they know. They don't care about how it looks, how it, what people think in that moment. But anyways, when I told my parents that, I think they were, I think of course they were disappointed in some ways because
yeah.
when you send a kid out, it's a big deal to come to USA.
Oh,
There's certain things that are expected of you, especially from the school that I came from, like in Kathmandu, is Buran Khanta School. It's like a very prestigious school for, graduates go on to do a lot of like academically very prestigious jobs. So
yeah,
I think it was
that's
a mix of both, and I don't know if I didn't have like a little bit of success afterwards, it would have been like a sad story. I feel like.
hey, like a thing about like musician and sad story is they make amazing music,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
after a lot of people die, then they become famous. Hopefully,
yeah,
like
yeah. Sad, yeah.
you're catching up to be alive and still like a lot of people appreciating. So I'm just like glad a lot of people are getting to know you and enjoy your music. And one thing about you, like I find fascinating, is you have the guts to like go around the band and tour in United States. Like you did a tour with the whole band, right?
Yeah, we did. I think 3 or 4 tours. Two of them were like full country tours, and then two of them were like regional tours. But
Okay.
back then, it was like that's what you were supposed to do if you're a band, because online things were just starting out. MySpace was a big thing.
Oh,
It
you
was
went in
just
MySpace.
yeah, we were like the MySpace generation thing. So with like
Awesome.
YouTube definitely wasn't a thing back then. Like
Yeah.
YouTube wasn't what it is now. Like you couldn't reach so many people, and streaming the speeds were really bad. The quality was really bad. So the only way that you could uh, get any kind of self promotion is to tour, and I mean touring also like really helped clarify a lot of things for me and for the band as far as what kind of material people really enjoyed and what kind of regions people like our music in. And had we gone on as a band, I think we would have sort of focused that more. Like certain
Uh-huh.
towns in the US like really like our style of music.
So do you even remember how many states you visited, like touring? How many
How,
miles you drove?
oh, yeah, countless, countless. This US is a huge country.
I remember you coming with the trailer in the back and with a jeep, like a SUV, and you guys are like four guys. Everybody's tired driving, and we're calling at night. It's like over there, over this side park, and like the place we parked was a little steepy, so it's just funny like how like human like we are, just like getting tired of performing.
Yeah, yeah. No, we were so exhausted by then.
So,
And
like, tell me, like, do you have any crazy stories like about like those kind of tours?
yeah, I mean, the thing is with touring is the first week is really hard, and then you start getting to a groove, and then you sort of become used to that kind of lifestyle, and then it's kind of hard to come back to normal life. And we only did it for like maximum like month and a half.
So, how does your routine go by?
So it would be like we play so it would start from the night before, like we play a show, and then after that people want to hang out and stuff because it's like a party thing, and maybe go at like 2 or 3 a.m. And
Okay.
depending on what you have next day, if you have a show the next day, then you have to like figure out like what time we need to be at the venue by and how long we have to drive. So it's
Mhm.
all, and then it's just like a lot of driving, non-stop driving. And so we would go and then we'd get to the venue. No, we have to like load out all our equipment, set it all up, then play the
Yeah.
show. It was
And and that's like that takes a lot of equipment. I've seen like, of course drummers have the biggest number of equipment, heavy stuff, but even your like guitar gadgets and so on were pretty impressive. Like you have a ton of stuff. Like
Yeah, we had like the big speaker cabinets, the 4x12 cabinets. We brought all of that, which
uh,
now like living in New York, I can't even imagine having that that huge of an amp. I have like a big amp and I never use it, so I think it's like a touring thing. That's why we had the trailer. We had
uh-huh.
big bass rig and drums, everything. And every show we'd like load it out, etc. And after every show we'd put it back in the trailer and drive.
Oh, jeez. So, like, tell me, like, how was like you toured mostly in colleges, right? During those time,
No, we did colleges, bars, like
bars.
whatever. Yeah, because it became to a point where like I said, we had like certain key areas that we want to hit, and it was
Mhm.
just a matter of getting to those places without being broke. And so we'd do like a lot of shows in between for like $50, for like $60, and so it's like
I
just to
mean,
get the gas going.
yeah, it's more about like reaching new people. It's like you just gotta start and get to. Music is all about like reaching new people. If you don't
Yeah,
reach new people, they're just like they're absolutely gonna not know who you are, and even that they like they could have appreciated your music and enjoyed it, and like how was like by the end of the tour, like when you came back, how exhausted were you?
I mean, funnily enough, by the end, we'd actually be like really energized because we
Oh,
we were like gotten used to that kind of lifestyle. So it's like because when you're just going, you don't feel like I would feel exhausted maybe like a week after being back home. We like
uh-huh.
stopping and then it all like sinks in at once, the tiredness and everything. But
Yeah.
when you're on the road, it's like you're almost like it's almost like you're like a soldier of some kind, because
Oh,
every day you have like a mission. You have to go play the show, do all that stuff, and then load out everything, and everything has to be fast because
oh
at
yeah.
the end of the show, everybody's drunk, all the audience. So like you have to make sure like nobody steals your stuff. So you have to like load in fast because you can't park. You're gonna get a parking ticket. So there's like a lot of adrenaline every single day. So.
Yeah, I've heard about stories like of bands like performing and when they get out, their stuff gets stolen, and that's the most heartbreaking thing. It's just
Yeah. We had some stuff that was stolen. It happened to us twice.
really what
One time,
happened?
someone cut the. It was luckily when we were playing a show, so there was not that much equipment, but there was like really expensive acoustic guitar. That was my drummer's.
Ooh,
Somebody cut the locks, of our trailer, and then they stole the guitar. And he had like a drum pad. They stole that. The second
oh,
time, somebody threw a window through our SUV. I mean, threw a
uh,
rock through the window,
yeah,
and
that's
then
oh,
stole a laptop and stuff like that. So.
that's like I mean, it's not something you would want to have, but it's something you can expect. Is like uh, you made weird people in the tour.
Yeah. No, we met a lot of weird people, a lot of crazy people.
Yeah, of course, and like with the band coming up, like I know Ayurveda band is now like, are you guys like broken up or how does that come out to be?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we're pretty much broken up. We haven't done anything in like almost 8 years now.
Yeah,
But
so
we
we
still
had
talk. Like we're still friends, but everybody has their own lives.
yeah.
Everybody's doing their own stuff. I mean, maybe someday in the future, like I don't know. I mean, I would love to do like some shows in Nepal with the band because
Oh, that'd be
I think that's
awesome,
where
right?
we made the most impact. Even when I go back, I still meet a lot of guys who were kids then. Now they're like men, and for them it was like a big deal. Those first two albums, I mean, but
Okay.
which we like had like some idea, but we didn't. I didn't really know the extent of how much people like their music in Nepal, and I
Yeah,
think that'd be a really good
yeah.
thing to do.
I've had few friends like cover you guys' song, Ayurveda song, and they like it were interesting too. So we have like everybody in is in the Queens area, or no? My bad. Like you are not in the Queens area then.
I mean, mostly Brooklyn out, but
Okay.
it's so my friend Dan, who's the bass player, he's in Brooklyn too. But two of the guys, the drummer and the guitarist, they're still upstate.
Upstate.
Okay, so I moved to the city, New York City, about like 2013 today.
Ayurveda band is currently in hibernation. I would say. I would love to have you
Yeah,
guys back. So
yeah, yeah.
you're currently doing a lot of projects, solo projects, and I've seen you recently came out with a Ratamata album. And how did that album come out to be? It has so much unique old Nepali music, and you have a lot of like newer generation like techno. I'm not say techno, but like a lot of advanced tonal quality in your guitars. I just feel like that album is such a beautiful piece of art.
Thanks,
So
man.
yeah, like how.
I mean that album was actually made when the band was still together.
Oh,
So the band is playing in that album. So that was released 2008. It's like almost, well, it's like 12 years. It's crazy.
okay,
And then
that's long.
2008, 2009. So that came out of sort of, it was like a necessity at that time because, so obviously when I graduated from college, I couldn't stay in the F1 visa. So I had to get it was like an artist visa. And one of the things that was required of me was I had to do something culturally relevant. Um, not as an album, but as more of like a weekly basis. So in Ithaca, where we lived, we were really good friends with this booker at a club. He booked all the talent. So we did start doing these shows every Wednesday night. It was called Nepali Folk Night, and it was free show. It was just a way of, it's like getting my visa requirement done. But then it evolved into like all this. So it was like, okay, so what do we play? So I was like, okay, dude, let's try all these like old songs and, like try some different arrangements and stuff like Asari Mainama, Maachi Kadaile. That sort of happened over there. So that was like the birth of it. And at some point, the drummer, Mike Parker, he was like the engineer of the band. So he was like, let's record these songs. So we did it really fast. And that also helped at that time to sort of fulfill another one of my requirements for my visa was like, that was another piece of evidence that we could show. Because, I mean, I had no idea that it would even reach anybody. It was just more like a fun project for us to do. And like sort of help with my status a little bit.
No, it turned out to be a gem. Let me tell you.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah. No, so it was crazy. So yeah, it was like we I think the main thing about that album is like it was not very overthought. Like there was not a lot of like overthinking. It was very simple. It was like these are the songs, these are the way that we could play it. Just try all these things, and a lot of it was the extension of what we were already doing with Ayurveda. So there's a lot of the Ayurveda sound in that album.
okay.
Even especially like you said, guitar tones, or and
Mm.
the drum sounds, bass sounds, like the mixing. Because Mike mixed the album, so he mixed most of the Ayurveda albums too. So it's got like a similar thing. So when we toured with Ayurveda, like we also had like a lot of stops where we could play the Nepali songs,
Mm.
and that's when like we first realized that there's like a big audience for this. People like want to hear this stuff. And
So you have your stuff out on Ratamata is out on Spotify, and
yeah,
I will put the link in the description. There should be a link in the
yeah.
description below. But you have out on the Spotify. You have in Bandcamp. What else have you streamed it on?
There's stuff on YouTube that I didn't put it up there, but
Okay.
at this point, like I'm just like whoever has put it up, like I'm okay with them just putting it up because it's important just to get the music out.
Definitely.
Uh, and then yeah, I mean, I put it out through DistroKid, so there must be like 20, 30 outlets that I have no idea about. And it's all like very regional by like country. You know, there's like all these streaming things in Russia that I have no idea, but it's there.
Hey, hey, as long as people listen to it, I don't know.
Yeah.
There must be some Nepalese there too. I'm sure of it.
Or it just like randomly recommends it to some Russian guy.
Oh, oh, they'll love it. It's about
Yeah,
vodka.
yeah, yeah.
And
So yeah, it's Deezer, but I only listen to Spotify and YouTube. Pretty much that's it. You know, but it's on like iTunes, Apple Music,
yeah,
Tidal, all these things.
yeah,
So
you have your stuff out. So to our listeners, if you want to listen to it and support Diwas like there's I'll put up some link in the description below. Okay, let's talk about like I know like you have been doing. What's your recent project that you've been working on?
so right now I'm releasing my technically it's my third album, no fourth album, because after Dark Matter I did two EPs.
Mhm.
One was called Adunik, which had the Ami Ayo song, and the other one was Charna Sahar, which had Koti Basso, the cover of Koti Basso. So after and in between, I released like a bunch of singles here and there, like Bimaan that you would think that was
Mhm.
after Charna Sahar. So right now I'm releasing my full length album. So I'm releasing tracks every week or every 2 weeks. So I've released like 5 songs so far. The album is called Bato. There's still a couple more songs to go, and I mean just the way it is right now. Like I think you have a better chance of reaching people who release songs one by one instead of a
Okay.
whole album. Um, so that's what I'm doing. I don't know how I feel about it, but it's
Though
what
I
it is.
mean, it definitely if it works, it works. Like
Yeah,
your every song, like if it's you worked enough like on it, and if people get start to appreciate like that exact song instead of getting the whole album, like people used to buy like the whole album just to get one song, and
yeah,
nowadays with the
exactly.
digital thing, it's like it's nicer to just get that song what they like, and it's
Yeah,
always great to have the whole album too. So like I remember you like going back to like in your concert days. So I remember you staying with us. Like we had a little home party. Like I remember you guys. Like you had Mike, Dan, Shikhar, and who am I missing?
Tom
Tom,
Basin.
Tom, Tom, Tom.
Yeah,
Like man, he has extremely high, nice, beautiful voice too.
yeah, yeah. Amazing
And
song.
like it's. I remember you guys making momo at my place, and we called it we called it Ayurvedic momo.
Yeah, that
And
was really. I remember that.
oh, thank you. So I remember like we had like Tom, Tom and like Tom and like everybody were like super expert in setting up the momos. Like
Yeah, yeah.
how many momo jam up sessions did you guys have to have them influenced like to have them
Oh,
addicted to
a
it?
lot. Yeah, yeah. Especially in college, that's like the main thing to do. So, gathering all the Nepalis and making momos. Because
Yeah.
momo party is I think it's a very uniquely foreign thing. You know, we never had like momo parties like that in Nepal. It's very like, and I don't know how it is in other countries, but in US definitely like every college we visited in Nepal, we always had
Okay.
this thing where you just make momos. So they've been to so many of those, so they're experts at
So you
making
made
it.
all of your band members like addicted to Momo. That's the best thing
Yeah,
you can do.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You better, if you want to be in a band with me, you better eat some momos. Okay, like from the same group, like when we're back home. So I have a few questions. Like I don't know if you remember, we have Raman, Pranesh, and Kuspu sent out a few questions for you. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna read it out to you. So this is a question from Kuspu. So, do you want to cover any other of your dad's song that you have not done yet? If not, what is your favorite cover of your dad's song?
So it's funny that that question was asked because I am going to release one of my dad's songs
Oh,
in like a month's time. So we just finished the mastering for the song, and we're working on a video right now. It's a beautiful song. So I've been working on that song. So it seems like 10, 12 years. So I'm really excited to release it
okay. And
because I
sorry, for those who don't know your dad, like he can you introduce him like his musical background?
Sure, sure. So if you ever heard my song called Chu, that was written by my dad. His stage name is Obi Sulti, and he was like he did a bit of everything. He was a very good singer. He is still a very good singer, songwriter, actor, dancer. Like he did all the things. He
Oh,
was
he's like
some
full
TV
package.
shows. Yeah, yeah. So in a way, it was in my blood, I guess. But also the song Maachi Kadaile, it was uh, he recorded that song. I mean, he didn't write that song, but he was the guy who recorded that song. Um, I don't know. It was like the 70s or something, and that was like a big hit back then.
Yeah.
But when I heard that song for the first time, it wasn't a recording of that song. It was he had made this cassette tape when my mom was in UK of like no. It was actually when my mom and dad were first just dating or they just got married. Like he made a cassette tape of my mom's friends are there, and they were like, "Oh, please sing a song," and he sang like Maachi Kadaile, Mayrin Su, and this new one called Lai Jao. So that's the tape I have, and that was my basis for covering all those songs. So,
Okay. So
yeah, so I have a new song coming up with his that he wrote
awesome. Well, what is the name of the song?
called Lai Jao.
Lights out. Okay, we'll be waiting for that, like
Yeah.
desperately. So I have
Yeah.
another question. This is from uh, Pranesh, and he has two questions. So let's see. So do you want to cover? Oh wait, that's Kuzbuz. And so let's have Pranesh's question. Okay, hold on. Let's have Raman's question. I think I screenshot the same question twice. So we have Raman's question. Hello Diwas Dai. If you remember me from Minnesota, St. Cloud, he's the tall guy. I don't know if you remember, but are you planning to rejoin Ayurveda anytime soon? We obviously answered a little bit. I like your song Jivan and Bato. Ekdam indie sound garcha, and I'm into that type of music. I'm not good at software and gadgets, but what kind of plugins do you suggest for indie type of music? And like he also said, we made one song a year ago, Yad Tyo, uh, Yad by Tyo Panketa. So he has a song out. So please listen to that and give us your thought. We're making song which is coming out soon. So I guess he's a little bit influenced by you.
Oh, cool. Okay, so the first question: when am I rejoining Ayurveda?
Yeah.
That I don't know. Like I think it's not just up to me; it's up to like everybody else in the band. Like I said, I think doing a show in Nepal would be fun, but it's a lot of commitment, and people have families now, so it's not as easy. And also, we haven't played together in like more than a decade, almost almost a decade. So because the reason Ayurveda was so good was we practiced a lot. Like I think we practiced every like 5 days a week for I think 3-4 years straight. I mean, we were like practicing
Oh,
extremely hard.
that's hard.
Yeah, and that came across whenever we played live because we were so in sync. And to get back to that level, I mean, it wouldn't take us years because we're all like more mature musicians now, so we can understand like what it means to like listen to. Like, when we were young, like people also like need to listen to each other. Like, okay, we're like, okay, I listen, but that's something that comes with age, like being more sympathetic to like the song as a whole instead of just your own part and your own like I just want to play my solo, but you have to think about the full picture and like how you fit in that. But I went off on a tangent, but
Oh no, please do. We're all about tangent stuff.
yeah. So I don't know, like
It's
we have a
everybody's
conference.
finding their path. Maybe it'll join again. I guess someday.
Yeah. I
We're
mean,
hoping at least come up with some kind of different songs together. Maybe again, but like
yeah.
right now you are doing your own stuff, and which we enjoy a lot as well. And his second question was completely free. Hold on. He has a lot of long question.
Oh,
So
the new songs with Bato and I think the song he was trying to say was Jamaico, not Jivan.
okay. Yeah, he wrote Jamaica. Well, I guess he was trying to say like, what kind of softwares and plugins or gadgets would you suggest for a new incomer?
Okay, for the indie sound, I would say whatever DAW you're using, it's fine. And like, I'm not picky about what program you use. I personally use Ableton Live, and I've been using that for almost 10 years. And for me, it's very easy to, like I said, express yourself because at some point when you're producing, like you start to understand that like the software you're using is an instrument. That's like the biggest instrument. We're growing up, we'd like read all these things about like, oh, the Beatles used the studio as an instrument. So I was wondering what that meant. And once I started getting into Ableton Live and learning how to arrange and like manipulate sections and sounds and stuff, I was like, okay, this is the best instrument. It's like up there with guitar for me. Like, some
Yeah.
days I'll just sit and just play in Ableton for like the whole day, and it's just so much fun, like discovering new things. And so I was thinking like whatever style of music you're doing, you need to be like extremely familiar and like fluid with like whatever software you're using. It could be Logic for some people, Pro Tools, whatever. It's not. I don't think anything is like better than the others. As a whole, there might be some certain things that every dog is good at.
Yeah. Like
But apart from that, I think with the indie sound, what people gravitate towards is not so much treble. That's the thing. Like everything sounds warm, and you have to like be very conscious about keeping everything warm, but still having like enough high end in there. And that's like a lot to do with obviously like EQing, but also using like tape emulators.
okay.
So I use a lot of like different kinds of to get the sound of tape, which is different for different plugins. Certain plugins have a different sound, and just mix and match and try to find. And there's this really cool plugin that I use a lot. It's called Cassette by
Cassette.
I forget who makes it. It's not an expensive plugin.
Okay.
Um,
So
and
you, yeah, do you have like any plugins? Well, you basically have your gadget setups, right, for your guitar, and
yeah, yeah.
like when you emulate in Ableton Live with all of those plugins, do you replicate it in a guitar plugins as well, or how does that work? Is there a patch option?
For guitars, I usually record like straight in with all the effects in. I don't change the effects afterwards. Very rarely. What I don't do is I don't do any delay or reverb when I'm recording it. That's is always post processing, because I think delay and reverb is much more flexible in the computer than on. For like you get like a certain texture just from the pedals. But I usually use there's a company called Sound Toys. Just go say Echo Boy one, which is like the best delay plugin, and I use that a lot. And also stuff like Chorus is a really good way to get that dreamy sound, and that effect has made a comeback in the last like 5-6 years. Like
Oh,
big way, like everything is chorus now.
yeah.
And before, like I remember chorus was like the worst effect that you could have. But that's changed a lot.
It's
So
all the effect that was available in that speaker of like when we were old.
yeah,
It's like
yeah, it is. So yeah, so chorus is a big way to like get that indie feel. I feel like
okay.
it's
Yeah, so like he asked you to listen to his song, and I'm gonna put the link in. You can comment something. So
yeah, yeah, definitely. I'll check it out.
this is a question from Pranesh. So what's your process for creating song? Music first, lyric first, or whatever comes like in your mind. So that comes to with the same question I have as a musician too. Is like, what is the best method? Like, is it something like a melody that comes in my mind, or is it should I start strumming my guitar and feel the music and try to get inspired to find something from the air? Or like
Mm.
what is your process of like coming up with a good like a melody and music like to make it a complete song?
For me, it's I think yeah, definitely melody and chords first before lyrics, because I usually will go like I'll have a riff or a chord progression, and then I'll like build it up with that. And that's my I'll start improvising melodies, sometimes singing, sometimes playing on the piano or the guitar, whatever. Uh, you get different melodies from different things, because for me, guitar is so familiar. Like I can sometimes it's hard to bring fresh ideas with the guitar, because I feel like I've done it so much. I feel like the piano is like a very very nice way to find melodies, or just singing, and then the lyrics come like much after that, because once I start working on the melody and the music. Um, when I'm going to at certain point, like I would be like, okay, like I want to record some kind of vocals, and then usually like I'll just start just saying random words that goes with the flow of the music, and it's a lot to do with the consonants, the number of syllables you have in the words, and then you try to find like sometimes you say something interesting and you're like, okay, that's a cool thought. I wonder why I said that, because the music makes you feel a certain way, and then unconsciously you're like firing certain words that come out of your mouth. And the more I read like other musicians' biographies, and I feel like this is a very common way of doing it. I was reading Keith Richards' book, and he said it's the same thing that happens to him. Like he write the riff stuff. With him, it's different because like the whole band starts playing the music, and then he's just like, now I got to sing and something better, something good better come out, because he's like, there's a situation you get. I felt that being in a studio, like so. If, for example, I'm recording like a guitar solo back in Ayurveda days. So you're in a studio, the song is done, everybody's sitting down. Everyone's like, okay, now time to record the solo, and you're like, there's like so much intensity there and so much adrenaline. So you come up with like amazing stuff that you wouldn't have just sitting in your room and stuff like that. So I think it's trying to put yourself in that situation where like it's very like intense, and you're not just like sitting around and just trying to come up with stuff.
Oh yeah,
Sometimes,
you definitely need some pressure. Like the pressure brings the
yeah,
best
yeah,
out of
yeah,
you.
yeah. For me, it works to have some kind of pressure. So um, like sometimes I play like my stuff to my wife, my friends, and just the act of playing it to somebody else like that, then I'll see like 100 problems that weren't there.
Okay,
But it's a good way to like sort of work down your process, because
okay.
yeah, I think it's a lot of like filtering ideas, and then at some point once I start working on the lyrics, then it's like either it comes like really easily, the lyrics, and it makes sense, or it's like years of editing and writing and editing and writing, and you're
Yeah,
like
that
wrestling with it. Yeah.
yeah. Like I have some songs like that's been there for like many months, and it's halfway done, and I'm like I feel this is a boring song, so I just leave it. So I have 20 songs that's like not released, like halfway there, and it's like I know this is some melody are super nice, but it's not gonna be a full song, and I start moving on to new song, and then
Hmm.
it just keeps on stacking up, and so like my whole process of making music has been like as you said, it's hard to figure out things, and you need a pressure, but when you have enough time, you're like I'm gonna make new one, and then all the music gets stuck there.
Yeah, yeah. But do you ever go back and listen to your old songs and you
I
find stuff that you like about it?
Yeah, I do. Like I have like every song, for every song I make, there's like a three or four different versions of different placements. Some sounds like super synthy, and some sounds like more natural instrument, and I'm like more natural instrument, and I'm like, where should I go? Where should I land? And
Yeah, yeah.
it just feels like a different variation of the same song, and none of them feels right to you anymore.
Right. No, I felt that too. But yeah, it's like usually when I go back and um, I do find like certain things that I like about it, and then what I would do is like I just like concentrate on that part and then just redo everything with just that element that you like, and try to keep it, um, like try to keep what you like about it. And
Mm.
but yeah, I mean, I do need to take breaks, because otherwise, like you don't know what's good and what's bad after a little bit once you start going down that hole.
I've seen concerts of you and your wife playing guitar. Is it?
Hmm.
Okay, and she's a musician too, right?
Yeah, yeah. We have
Okay.
a band called the Rungs.
The
So it's just
runs, right?
rungs, like
Wrong.
GRUN, rung,
Oh.
RUNG, like rungs of a ladder.
Oh!
Yeah, yeah, the rungs.
Where did that name come out to be?
It's like it's a play on the gurung. So I just took the GU part, so I just kept the rungs. But then it also meant the rungs of a ladder. I thought that was pretty
Oh no,
nice.
that's cool. No, and you both of you played like guitar so melodically, and it's the chemistry. You can just feel that chemistry. And you both did concerts in Nepal. Like I remember seeing shows of you two together, like
Yeah,
in YouTube?
we did a couple of shows. Um, yeah, and when she does a lot of production too, like when she does Ableton Live, a lot. So it's very good to like just play it to her, or if someone comes to record here, but sometimes I play my song to them. Like just 'cause sometimes they want to hear like what's new, and I just play like demos that I'm doing, and that is like a really good process of doing it because if any doubts that you had in your mind about certain parts, then it becomes like kind of concrete. And like they don't even have to say anything. Like I'm just having a conversation within
Yeah.
myself. Like while I'm playing, I'm like certain parts. I'm just like, oh, this is like really embarrassing. This is really. But I won't ask it, like like is this part bad? Like I don't know, but it's a good way to sort of filter out your ideas.
Okay, that's definitely nice. So,
Yeah.
like with the music, like scene in your area, like what's your plan for the next? Like, what are you planning beside the next, song we're waiting for with your dad's cover? What direction are you eventually planning to go in?
I'm not sure. I mean, right now I'm doing all producing and mixing now for other people. And the plan was to go to Nepal in August to do like a album release show and maybe work with some artists in Nepal. No?
Hmm.
But with everything that's happening now, I don't know if
Oh
that's
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Let's go back to you live in New York, right? This is like an
yeah.
epicenter in United States, like with the corona and like how is your life up there? I should have asked this the first thing.
No, I mean life is like crazy because it's like the only thing. I mean, you probably know the same as me. I only read the news because when I go, I don't really go outside. We try to spend most of the days inside. When I do go outside, I see like very few people because I live in Brooklyn and there's not like a super busy neighborhood. I mean, there's areas that are busy, but yeah, it's been crazy. Like I get updates on my phone, what to do also. So it's just been crazy. I mean, it's I don't know if it's like gone down now or like people still are more used to the chaos of the situation. But I remember the first week was like very like everybody was panicking and I was like feeling anxious just being here.
Yeah,
And
it
I don't think the
is.
situation has changed, but I feel like we're more used to this lifestyle.
Yeah, like that's what I thought is like I completely forgot you were in New York, and I'm like used to like as a musicians like we like to spend a lot of time making inside our home, like making composition, and we spend a lot of time at home too.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
and I've been like staying at home working, and I don't go out often, so I kind of feel like this is the new normal in some sense.
Yeah,
And
it is for a lot of people, but for like musicians, it's not that much different.
yeah,
Like it's what we were doing anyways. The only thing is like not having that freedom to actually go out. That does do something to you psychologically. Even though like I actually don't really go out anyways that much, but it's not having that option and um, just also like feeling uncertain about food and supplies and
yeah.
just the health of not just me but like my friends and my family and everything. Because this is like it's like a global thing too. So
Yeah, it's like luck. Well, luckily Nepal doesn't seem to have that many cases, which we hope it will
yeah,
stay like that. But like with the epicenter like New York and I'm in Dallas, Dallas seems to be doing okay. I don't quite know, but they're mandating like masks and stuff, so things are gonna
yeah,
change. And like yeah, with you and your family and like especially being a musician and not being able to perform in front of people, and a lot of musicians lively like live source is performing, and that's been cut off. It feels like a lot of trouble times are about like they're expecting a lot of trouble times for a lot of musicians as well.
yeah. For musicians, like I mean, fortunately for me, like I don't really perform that much here. Most of my income is just doing production work, so I can do it from my home.
Okay.
Um, so in that way, I'm like more fortunate than most other musicians. There are musicians who like they solely rely on the gigs, and for them this is like really awful to me.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't
definitely.
do. Mm.
Huh, that's like a really sad place we went to. But let's share stuff out. So,
Yeah.
like, let's talk about like I want to see like what I feel like from my side, and watching you have to release all of those songs is like, do you have plans to collaborate with other artists here in the United States?
I mean, I have been collaborating a lot, but not as like collaborate on my song, sort of. But I've been doing a lot of production work where it's like they bring me like a rough acoustic demo that they have, and then I sort of make the music and the mixing of it. So in that sense, I've been collaborating like a lot the last 3 4 years since I've been doing it full time.
Okay.
Um, but other than that, yeah, like I just it's sad to say, but I just don't have the time. It seems like because every day it's like I'm always behind on the things that I need to do, and just releasing my own music was like a very conscious thing. Like I was like I have to do it because the last 5 years I've just been doing like other people's music, and which I love. It's a lot of fun doing it that way, and that also has helped me like like feel more as a musician or like someone who does music,
Oh.
just being involved with music like on a daily basis. Um, because for the longest time I had like day jobs and everything. Like I worked at restaurants, I worked as a delivery guy, I did all sorts of things just to support being a musician. But the last 3 4 years I've been able to do it full time, and that's been like a big deal for my self esteem.
No, that's good. Like with every musician, there's always lows and highs. It's like either you want to make music and sell music, but the initial phase of just creating something and a lot of people getting it to the people is the hardest thing. Once you have
Yeah,
a good following back and once you start to get more famous in that sense, then it starts things start to get a little easier. I will not say too much easier, but the initial phase of just being recognized and just putting your music out there is the hardest part for any musicians.
yeah.
So we're almost good. Like I hear somebody like vacuuming or something around me. So
Oh yeah, I hear that little.
so we've been talking for quite a bit. So I would love to have you on again some days. And like before I want to end, like, do you have a guitar on you there?
Yeah, yeah, I have. Let's see. Let me grab one. Let me
Okay.
grab one right now. I'll play my dad's song. Mayroon Sila. Mayroon sila, may bago. Gurune mana buझाउने जाउँछु मैरुन्छु मै पागल छु गोरुने mana बुझाउने जाउँछु जाउँछु आकाशै भरि 9 लाख तारा एक तारा जुनसित आकाशै भरि 9 लाख तारा एक तारा जुनसित हजारौं तिर हजारौं माया हजारौं तिर हजारौं माया प्रीतिलाउ कुमसित यो मायालाई जाउँ भन्दा भन्दै ओ दुनियाँले चाल पायो नभन्दै नभन्दै त्यो ठुलो फेरि त्यो फेरि हिमालयदेखि भरिमा आउने त्यो ठुलो फेरि त्यो फेरि हाँसेर बोल्ने त्यो तिम्रो बानी हाँसेर बोल्ने त्यो तिम्रो बानी बिर्सनु कसरी हो ढोलबाजीलाई त्यही पर्यो खाली हो जहाँ गए रोइरहन्छ पापी मन रोइरहन्छ पापी मन रोइरहन्छ पापी मन.
Thank you for performing for us, for me, and for our audience. Beautiful, beautiful song. So we'll probably end our podcast right here, and I'd love to have you someday again. And it's been really wonderful to talking to you about a little bit about your journey, about this whole musical career, and with your friends and with your what have you come to be. And once again, I would like to remind our audience to listen to Diwas Gurung, his new EPs. We're expecting newer ones, and I'll have a description of you and your music in our description below. Everything about you that our audience would want to have. So by the, end of the show, do you have something to say to newer musicians, newer upcoming musicians, from Nepal or from here? How would they want to? Maybe you can reflect on some things of your past that you could have done to get started with being a musician and having their career.
I would say, I think the main thing is not to stop. You don't have to do. There's no right or wrong answers anymore. I feel like you can still, because when I started, I had a feeling that I had to only do one thing at a time, and it was so black and white for me. But I feel like now, with the way that you can reach people, YouTube specifically, you can have there's a lot of gray areas. But whatever you do, either you do a full-time job, you do fully music, you do part-time, whatever, it's important not to stop doing music. Try to find the time to do music, and it's very important to release music. Your first video might be the one that people really latch onto, and you get a lot of recognition for that, or it could be your 20th video. But there's no guarantee, and there's no formula. I think the main thing is you have to keep doing it, and above else, you have to love it. You have to find it fun. You have to enjoy the process of making music more than anything. I feel like that's the main thing, because as long as you feel like your new song is better than your old song, I think that's a really good way to be, because you have to be excited about whatever you're doing now, what you're doing next. And also another thing is, you should also learn how to record yourself. And nowadays it's not that hard. It's the information is out there. Don't be a studio quality recording, but just enough to make demos and make arrangements, and just find that what makes you unique with your music, and just try to nourish your uniqueness with your music.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and I'll take your message of I'm not gonna stop because Diwas said so. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. Really glad to have you, and hope everything settles down in New York, and hopefully good safety for your family and good health for everybody around there in New York. And hope to hear more of your stuff, and keep on rocking.
Thank you.